Hello, and I'm Amanda Dunas from the Positive Thinking Clinic. Quite often, so many people are so interested and determined on finding ways to stop the worry and the noise and the anxiety that goes on in their heads. Have you ever heard yourself or someone else saying, I just can't switch it off. I'm just constantly worrying and feeling anxious? Well, in my clinic, I love finding out recent research or finding out not just through other experts or through listening to podcasts or researching or reading books or doing courses, and from individuals themselves who come in and say, well, this is what works for me. But what I'm going to talk about today is some recent psychoeducation that I've received from Reid. And I just absolutely love his work, and I don't like to keep it all to myself. And if there's something that I find useful, I like to share it. So first of all, think of a time, for example, when you have all this energy of worry consuming you and you're experiencing all this anxiety. Create a statement or a sentence that will sound something like, okay, this feels so uncomfortable, but I can handle it. Or I don't like this feeling, but I can manage this. A statement like that is really the statement that you're kind of looking for, because it's encouraging and it's beating the fear. Now, quite often when anxiety comes to hijack us, we take it seriously, but we shouldn't. In fact, when fearful thoughts pop up, try and not take it so seriously. When you're trying to get rid of feelings, once you feel worried or scared, try not to get rid of those feelings. Don't back away and assume that you don't have what it takes to solve a problem. And that signal that's indicating that, oh, I'm in danger, convince yourself that no, I'm not in danger. So don't do any of these things, because these are the ingredients that make us victim to the game of anxiety. So anything fearful that pops up, don't take it seriously. Once you're feeling scared and worried, don't try and get rid of those feelings. If you're going to assume that you have what it takes to solve this problem, great, assume it. Don't back away from that and think, oh no, I'm not really capable. Anytime you start feeling anxious, that doesn't mean that you're in danger. So what I want to say now, it's not really about the event. It's always mostly about how we interpret things. And we are in charge of what we decide to, how we decide to interpret things. We are in charge of our perception. We can change that any time. If we are used to giving negative and dangerous and unstable interpretations about events that only create fear, well, perhaps that's been feeding the anxiety. And now it's time to make a change and say, no, I'm not going to feed the anxiety anymore. In fact, I'm going to be in charge of a brand new interpretation. So what you need to think of is your response to the sensations. It's not about paying attention to uncomfortable sensations and what work you need to do there. It's about how you respond. And we're going to allow experience to teach us. Now, there's two responses that we tend to give out when we're in a situation of difficulty or discomfort and worry and anxiety. And it's we either resist it or we accept it. Now, I don't know if you agree, but when we're resisting something, that costs us a lot of energy, even torment, and it can create more anxiety. Now, whatever it is, if it's accepted in a safe way, safe environment, of course, then you see how it doesn't stir up any feelings. Acceptance helps you move out of what you're stuck. So changing your response to a tough moment, how can you do that? So the tough moment is something unpleasant. If you're going to resist it, you're going to say, oh, I don't want this. and you step back and notice your resistance. You choose to drop your resistance and move to acceptance, because that's the pathway to wellness, or that's the pathway to handle it a little bit better. And so you can focus on how to handle the moment. It's your challenge. And quite often you'll find that even though it feels uncomfortable, even resisting helps you feel uncomfortable too anyway. So once we move towards acceptance, you can say that statement to yourself that I proposed earlier on, like, this may not feel good, but I can handle this. Imagine saying to yourself, that's okay. This is what I want right now. This discomfort is what I'm after right now, because you know that it's going to give you a positive outcome. You can say to yourself, I'm willing to experience this at this moment, and I'm happy to be here. Even though it doesn't feel so good, I'm happy to be here still. Remember, it's what you say to yourself. It's your perception, it's your interpretation that's going to help you out of a stuck moment, or to help you move away from that feeling of anxiety. And so you become accepting of a situation that already exists. You become upset about a difficult state of affairs, and therefore it's like moving into shock. But it's best to accept what's going on for you before you attempt to change it, instead of fight and then try and change it. When you stop fighting the present moment, you can turn all of your attention to ways to influence the very next moment. So it's not about, don't even worry about how you're used to dealing with things or what you used to do, whether it worked or not, especially if it's always been with resistance, because what's worked for you is also a matter of your interpretation. Become more concerned with, and this is what I concern myself with when I have individuals in front of me who are faced with anxious moments. Become concerned with, what decision are you going to make for the next moment? Choose, if you must, if you're going to follow that pathway of acceptance, choose to become distressed and afraid. You have to allow yourself, put yourself in that position to experience the distress, especially if you want to learn to manage the distress. So you've got to be in it so you can learn about it, right? You have to feel it. You have to get the symptoms, so that then, because you know how you respond, how you behave, and what works for you, you have to be the person experiencing it. It's no good having somebody else as a role model. That's only for discussion, but you yourself have to put yourself in that distressing situation so that you can find ways to work yourself out of the and manage the distress. Whatever it is that's threatening you, be okay with it. In fact, welcome it. Allow the occasional that feeling, that wherever it lands for you in your body, could it be in your chest or in your stomach or in your mind, allow it to be. Give yourself a message, something like, that's okay, bring it on. I'm fine with this. Get more distressed, get more anxious if I must. And choose to feel unsure, awkward, afraid, clumsy. So say, create new habit now. Say, it's hard and I want to. You think of a situation of people who are actually successful at that. Someone who's anxious about some competition. No competition is easy, but they want to bring it on. They want that competition, and hence they allow themselves all the discomfort, all the nerves, all the anxiety, and they still are determined and looking forward to go through the motions. Regardless of the outcome, they travel that journey, and it's very good practice. So notice what's threatening. Could it be an impulse, an image, a thought? Notice it and be aware of it. In fact, name it. Oh, I'm worrying about that particular event again. And say, good, I want to feel this feeling, because I'm sick of feeling it all the time and trying to avoid it. Now I actually want this feeling. Notice that you feel worried or scared, and say, good, I want to feel scared as well. And be there. Be present while you're feeling uncertain, while you're feeling frightened. Don't fight it. Remember, we're accepting it. Now, look at the challenges ahead. Step towards and not away from your challenges. Believe in yourself that you have the ability to master it. Be willing and volunteer to choose to feel awkward and unsure and embarrassed, insecure, afraid, worried, and allow yourself to fail. Make some mistakes because these are part of the pathway to success. Do this enough and you'll notice that. In fact, even when you haven't been so anxious, if there's been times that you've been successfully journeying through something, if you really think about it, there's been some setbacks, there's been some hurdles. You just go around them or go over them, or you just start again. And then you travel your way to success. Not every road is designed to be smooth. So you can go through the potholes and the bumps and all the dead ends as smoothly as you learn to. Your biggest challenge that you're going to face is your own personal high standards. So if you feel that you suffer from that, lower your standards a little and then give it a go. Your perspective, it must change, or you will focus too much on not losing instead of winning. Make it unpleasant as you can handle, all the unpleasantness that you can, and then just wait. Be with all the feelings, be with what you're experiencing. To get stronger, you need to do things that you think you cannot do. And you need to do it while you're thinking that you can't do it. So, in other words, don't wait so that you can wake up one day and say, oh, I have more confidence and I'm going to give that a try now. It's actually okay to give something a go when you're not feeling confident. In fact, I think from what I've learned, that's probably the best time to do that. You get lots of learning in lots of different other areas if you're simultaneously trying to achieve something or work through something that you think that you actually can't. Well, when we have kids, don't we encourage them, give it a go? We don't say them, wait till you get more confident. We say, give it a go. And then let's see what you learn from that. And then you can give it a go again another time and just continuously practice. So act as if. Don't wait until you are certain that what your strategy is going to be, that you think is going to work for you. Start now. While you're feeling doubtful, while you're feeling scared, while you're feeling insecure, just start. Doubt, distress is no longer going to be your enemy. Let it come into your world without fearing it. In fact, this doubt and this distress may actually be what you need so that you can teach yourself some resilience and to begin to overcome things that were otherwise worrying you, to help you find the strength during doubtful moments and you push through whatever the outcome. It's the journey, right? It's learning to be resilient, it's learning to have courage, it's learning to just give it a go. So if something's bothering you, let it bother you. And in fact, ask it to bother you even more. Because normally what we're doing is saying, oh, please don't bother me so much. Let it in. Let it bother you. Move towards any task that you're finding a struggle with. Let it be uncertain for you. Let the outcome be uncertain. Even the distress, whatever's worrying you, let it be there. And when you feel that you're being bothered, step back and acknowledge what's happening. You can say, okay, this is hard, but say, yeah, it's hard, but I'm actually looking forward to this because I'm actually going to move forward, make progress, and see what I discover. Encourage yourself, whatever sentences may be useful for you, like, I've got this, I can do this, I'm happy to give it a go. Encourage yourself like you would somebody else. Keep going, give it another try, keep moving. And if you want to be cheeky towards anxiety, you can always say to, well, come on, if that's all you're going to give me more. It's just anxiety. It's just a feeling. Bring it on. And then turn your attention back to the task that you've chosen. Even while you still feel uncertain and uncomfortable, give it your best shot. Now, I hope you understand why I actually really like the way Reid Wilson has taught this. And I'm just telling it to you in a nutshell so that I can teach you what he taught me, because too often I hear too many people say, I'm afraid of this and so I'll avoid it, or I'm afraid of this and so I'm going to distract myself. But the truth is, no, that's really not going to let you overcome. That's only going to let you distract and avoid. What you are looking for is to overcome some of your obstacles that you have found to always give you discomfort and distress. So whatever it is of this that you think you can try, even one small thing, give it a try. Play with it. I hope you found this useful. I'm Amanda Dunas and I'm from the Positive Thinking Clinic. Thank you.